When a woman starts pulling away and going cold, most men ask themselves the same question. Is she done with me, or is she testing me? Here's what you need to understand, and this is something most women would never openly admit. When we create distance, there's one specific thing we're paying attention to, and most men get it completely wrong. Think about it. She stops responding as quickly. Her texts get shorter. She's suddenly busy all the time. And what do most guys do? They panic. They double text. They ask what's wrong. They try to fix a problem they don't even understand yet. But here's the part that might surprise you. In that moment when she pulls back, there's something happening that most men completely miss. And how you handle that moment determines everything that comes after. This video breaks down exactly what's happening in her mind when she creates distance, the real reasons women pull back, and the one response that completely shifts the dynamic. By the end, you'll know the difference between being tested and being rejected, and more importantly, you'll know exactly how to respond to both. Before we go deeper, let me be clear about something. This isn't about playing games or manipulating anyone. I'm not here to teach you tricks to make her obsess over you or punish her for pulling away. What I am going to share with you comes from understanding female psychology, not from a place of resentment, but from genuine insight into how attraction actually works. And here's what most relationship advice gets wrong. They tell you to either chase harder or walk away completely. Both extremes miss the truth. The real answer sits in a place most men never think to look, and understanding it changes everything, not just with her, but with how you show up in any relationship moving forward. So let's break down exactly what's happening when a woman distances herself and why your response in this moment matters more than anything you've done up to this point. Here's what happens to most men in this situation, and maybe you'll recognize yourself in this. The moment she goes cold, something inside you shifts. You start analyzing every text you sent, every conversation you had. Was it something you said? Did you come on too strong? Not strong enough? The uncertainty becomes unbearable, and that uncertainty triggers something powerful, the fear of loss. Suddenly, she's all you can think about. You're checking your phone constantly. You're crafting the perfect message that will make her respond. You're trying to figure out the exact right move that will bring her back. But here's the psychology behind why this happens. When something we want starts to pull away, our brain interprets it as scarcity, and scarcity creates urgency. So your instinct to chase, that's not weakness. That's your biology trying to secure something before it disappears. The problem is, women aren't wired to respond to that energy. When you chase from a place of fear or desperation, she doesn't see persistence. She sees need, and need repels attraction faster than almost anything else. Most men think showing more interest solves the problem. They text more. They explain themselves. They try to prove their value. But every time you reach out from that desperate place, you're actually lowering your value in her eyes. You're confirming whatever doubts made her pull back in the first place. So the question becomes, how do you respond in a way that doesn't push her further away? Here's exactly what we're going to cover. First, I'll show you how to tell the difference between a woman who's testing you and a woman who's actually done, because your response needs to be different for each. Then we'll break down the female psychology behind why women create distance and what they're really looking for when they pull back. After that, I'm giving you the exact protocol, what to do, what not to do, and the specific timeline that matters. We'll also cover how to maintain your frame when everything inside you is screaming to reach out, and how to respond if she does come back. By the end of this, you'll have complete clarity on this situation and a game plan that works whether she returns or not. So let's start with the most important question. Is she testing you, or is she actually done? Here's how you tell the difference. When a woman is testing you, she's still watching. Her texts might be short, but they're not non-existent. She might be distant, but she's still in contact. She's creating space to see how you handle it. The key indicator? She's still responsive when you do reach out. It just takes longer, or feels colder than before. Testing looks like this. She pulls back, but leaves the door slightly open. She's busy when you suggest plans, but doesn't completely shut down the idea. She might even throw out subtle hints or breadcrumbs to see if you'll chase them. What she's really doing is checking your frame. Will you panic, or will you stay grounded? But when a woman is actually done, the energy is completely different. There's no warmth, even in brief interactions. She's not creating space, she's creating distance. Her responses aren't just delayed, they're detached. And here's the telltale sign. She stops engaging with anything meaningful, questions go unanswered. Future plans get shut down immediately, not postponed. There's no curiosity about your life anymore. The brutal truth, if you're constantly initiating and she's only giving you the bare minimum to not seem completely rude, that's not testing, that's tolerance. She's already made her decision, she just hasn't told you yet. Here's the decision framework. If there's still any warmth, any genuine moments, any real conversation when you do connect, she's likely testing. If it feels like you're talking to a stranger who's just being polite, she's done. The response protocol I'm about to give you works for both, but understanding the difference helps you manage your expectations and know when to walk away with your dignity intact. Now let's talk about why women create this distance in the first place, because understanding the psychology changes everything. Here's what most men don't realize. When a woman pulls back, it's rarely about something you did wrong. More often, it's about something she needs to figure out about you. She's testing whether you're the man you appeared to be or whether that was just a performance. Women are biologically wired to test for emotional strength. It's not conscious manipulation, it's a filtering mechanism that evolved over thousands of years. In ancestral times, a woman's survival and her children's survival depended on choosing a man who could stay calm under pressure, who wouldn't crumble when things got hard. That instinct didn't disappear just because we have modern dating. So when she creates distance, she's checking. Will you panic? Will you become needy? Will you try to logic your way back into her good graces? Or will you remain centered and unfazed? Here's the paradox that confuses most men. She does want you to fight for her, but not the way you think. She doesn't want you to chase her with desperate texts and explanations. What she actually wants to see is whether you'll fight for your own frame, your own standards, your own sense of self-worth. The moment you start fighting for her attention instead of maintaining your own center of gravity, you've failed the test. Think about it from her perspective. When you immediately start chasing the moment she pulls back, what are you communicating? You're saying her validation is more important than your own self-respect. You're showing her that your emotional state depends on her behavior, and that's the opposite of attractive. Women are drawn to men who have their own source of internal validation. The man who stays grounded when she goes cold. The man whose mood doesn't swing based on how quickly she responds to his texts. That's the man who makes her think, wait, maybe I'm the one who should be worried about losing him. And here's what silence signals to her: that you have options, that you have self-control, that you don't need her approval to feel good about yourself. It demonstrates outcome independence, the most attractive quality a man can have. This is why chasing backfires so spectacularly. Every text you send from a place of need is basically announcing, I don't have options, I need you to validate me, my emotional state depends on you. And women can feel that energy a mile away. So here's the one thing you need to do when a woman distances herself: absolutely nothing. I don't mean passively waiting around hoping she comes back. I mean strategic silence, complete radio silence. You match her energy to zero. If she's pulled back, you pull back further, not as punishment, not as a game, but as a boundary. Here's the protocol. Minimum 3 days, ideally 5 to 7, no texts, no social media stalking, no just checking in, no liking her posts, nothing. You go completely dark, and here's what most men get wrong. They think this is about punishing her or making her worry. It's not. This is about reclaiming your frame and creating space for her to actually miss you. You can't be missed if you're always available. During this silence, here's what you do instead. You focus on yourself, you hit the gym, you spend time with friends, you go out, you post subtle social proof if you're on social media, you living your life unbothered, not obviously trying to make her jealous, just genuinely showing that your world doesn't revolve around her response time. Here's the controversial part that most relationship advice won't tell you. Your silence needs to be real, not performed. If you're sitting at home obsessing over her, checking to see if she's viewed your stories, counting the hours since her last text, she'll feel that energy even through the silence. Women have a sixth sense for desperation. The psychological effect on her is powerful. For the first day or two, she might not even notice. She was pulling back anyway. But around day 3 or 4, something shifts. She starts to wonder, why hasn't he reached out? Is he talking to someone else? Did I push him away? That fear of loss you were feeling? Now she's feeling it. But here's what you need to understand. This only works if you're genuinely outcome independent. If your silence is just a tactic to get her back, it's going to fail. She'll sense the manipulation. The silence has to come from a place of self-respect, not strategy. Common mistakes men make: breaking the silence too early because they can't handle the uncertainty. reaching out drunk or late at night, sending one last text before the silence that explains what they're doing, or worst of all, breaking silence to ask if she's mad at them. The silence speaks for itself. Your absence should raise questions, not answer them. But here's the thing, silence alone isn't enough. You need to maintain your frame while you're silent, or you're just a guy who's not texting her while still being emotionally controlled by her. So let's talk about what frame actually means. Your frame is your internal reality that doesn't change based on external circumstances. It's the difference between a man who's calm in a storm and a man who becomes the storm. When a woman goes cold and your frame stays solid, you're demonstrating the emotional strength she was testing for in the first place. Most men stay with me here because this is where the real work happens. Being grounded means you can feel the anxiety, acknowledge the urge to reach out, and still not act on it. You're not suppressing your emotions, you're just not letting them dictate your behavior. Here's what this looks like practically. You wake up, you check your phone, there's no message from her. A reactive man spirals. A grounded man thinks, okay, she's still processing, and moves on with his day. The difference isn't in what you feel, it's in what you do with what you feel. This is where outcome independence becomes critical. You need to genuinely reach a place where you're okay whether she comes back or not. And I don't mean fake it till you make it. I mean actually developing the mindset that says, if this woman can't see my value, someone else will. Your attention should mirror her investment. If she's barely investing in you, why would you invest everything in her? This isn't about keeping score. It's about respecting yourself enough to not overfunction in a relationship where the other person is underfunctioning. And here's the foundation of all of this: self-respect. This protocol isn't a strategy to manipulate her into coming back. It's a boundary. It's you saying, I don't chase people who are running away from me. If she comes back, great. If she doesn't, you've maintained your dignity and avoided wasting time on someone who wasn't fully choosing you. That's the frame you need to hold. Not, I'm doing this to get her back, but I'm doing this because this is who I am, a man who knows his worth. Now, if she does reach out, and there's a good chance she will after a few days of silence, here's how you handle it. First, do not respond immediately. I don't care if you've been staring at your phone waiting for her text. Wait at least 4 to 6 hours. If it's late at night, wait until the next afternoon. This isn't playing games, this is demonstrating that you have a life that doesn't revolve around her message notifications. When you do respond, match her energy exactly. If she sends you a casual, hey, how have you been? Don't launch into a paragraph about how much you've missed her or what you've been up to. Keep it brief and friendly. Been good, staying busy. You? The key is to be warm but unbothered. You're not cold or punishing her, but you're also not overly enthusiastic or available. You're just a guy who's been living his life and happens to be responding to a text. Here's what you absolutely never say. Where have you been? Why did you stop talking to me? I thought you weren't interested anymore. Any question that seeks validation or explanation is a frame break. It shows her silence affected you, which gives her power. Instead, act like the gap in communication was completely normal. Like you barely noticed because you've been focused on other things. Because if you held your frame properly, that should actually be true. Let her re-engage first. Don't immediately suggest plans. Don't try to resurrect the connection. Let her wonder if you're still interested. Wait for her to invest more energy before you match it. If she's asking questions about your life, showing curiosity, suggesting to meet up, then you can start gradually increasing your engagement. The gauge for escalation is simple. She invests, you invest. She pulls back, you pull back. You're always just slightly less available than she is. Never more. Now here's the reality check. If she doesn't reach out at all after a week of silence, that's your answer. She's not testing you. She's done. And that's okay. You just saved yourself weeks or months of chasing someone who wasn't fully in it anyway. In that case, the silence becomes your closure. You held your frame, you maintained your dignity, and you moved forward. That's a win, even if it doesn't feel like one in the moment. The silence works either way. It either brings her back or gives you clarity to move on. Both are better than being stuck in limbo, waiting for her to decide. Now here's the truth most men can't handle. You might have to be willing to lose her to actually keep her. The moment you become truly outcome independent, where you genuinely don't need her to choose you, that's when you become most attractive. Women can feel when you need them versus when you simply want them. Need is repulsive. Want from a place of abundance is magnetic. If your silence drives her away, she was already gone. You just sped up the inevitable. And that's a gift, not a loss. The controversial truth is this: a woman who makes you chase her, who makes you prove yourself over and over, who pulls away to see you scramble, she's not the prize. The real prize is a woman who matches your energy, who invests when you invest, who doesn't play games with your emotions to test your devotion. I know that's harsh. I know some of you are thinking about a specific woman right now and making excuses for why she's different. But here's the self-respect principle. You deserve someone who doesn't make you feel anxious about where you stand. Period. This protocol, the silence, the frame maintenance, all of it, it's not really about getting her back. It's about filtering for the kind of woman who actually deserves your time. If she comes back and invests, great. If she doesn't, you just saved yourself from months or years with someone who was never fully in it. So ask yourself, are you actually trying to win this woman? Or are you trying to avoid the pain of admitting that maybe she's not right for you? So let me ask you, have you ever been in this exact situation? A woman pulled back and you either chased or went silent. What happened? Did she come back? Did it work? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're in this situation right now, where are you in the process? Have you already started the silence, or are you about to? Let me know so I can give you perspective on your specific situation. This channel isn't just about dating advice. It's about building a community of men who understand that self-respect and emotional strength are the foundation of everything, not just relationships, but your entire life. Men who refuse to chase people who are running away from them. Men who know their worth. If that resonates with you, you're in the right place. Remember this: your silence is more powerful than your words. The right woman will notice your absence. The wrong woman won't care. Either way, you win because you maintained your frame and your dignity. Be the man who stays grounded when everything around him is chaos. That's the man women remember. That's the man who never gets trapped in one-sided pursuit. What's your situation right now? Let me know in the comments below.